What's up guys, welcome to a new video, which is why Subarus are so great, but why they're getting worse. This was requested by one of us, a subscriber. Thanks Jack for this, let's get in with the video. So we're going to be talking about, of course, your WRXs, your STIs, as well as your Legacies. Jack himself actually just picked up a Legacy Twin Turbo. Well, when I say just picked up, you know, it's a little while ago, but not too long ago, you get it. So first of all, we're going to talk about why Subarus are so good. And first of all, we have to get this out of the way, the sound. The best sounding exhaust note of any 4-cylinder car stock, 100%. You're never going to get a Sylvia or an Evo to sound as good as these. They sound amazing. That Subi rumble is perfection. Another reason is the modding ability. There's so many parts available and so many options. Then of course with modding ability, we want to talk about how the car could be if you modify it, and these have got so much potential. They've got that low center of gravity with that boxer engine, and that 4-wheel drive system is so good. This is why they are actually sort of more moddable than Evo, because they've got the lowest center of gravity and the far superior 4-wheel drive system, which means fully modded, Subarus can actually be better. Power department is a different story, but that doesn't matter. And speaking of all-wheel drive, that is another positive. It is better than any other car out there, really. Stephanie Meller had an Evo and an STI off on the snow, which is a really good place to sort of test what a car's systems are like, how it pressures with those slippery conditions. He said,
the all-wheel drive system on it is crazy. It's so predictable compared to like an Evo. For my Evo 10, for example, you know, it's got all this snow mode, all this ACD, AYC stuff on it. I feel like this is just a raw feeling.
4-wheel drive in the Subaru is just so much more engaging and predictable. It's better than, you know, your Evos, your Golf R Helldeck systems, or the, you know, dressed up crossover Focus RS 4-wheel drive. And of course, the community is another great point. You know, the Subi wave. For such a big community, they are so close. And here's where you go into the big one, why they are so great. The way they drive. You know, they're small, they're light, they've got about 300 horsepower. Of course, that varies whether you get, you know, a Legacy or a WRX or an STI. But they've got very nice power to weight. And when you think about it, with that amount of power and the size and weight of all that, you can squeeze it through traffic, the tight winding roads we have in, you know, Europe, New Zealand, Australia. You can use most of it a lot of the time. You know, if you have a 500 horsepower car, you're not going to be planting your foot in the middle of traffic, are you? You're not going to be squeezing between traffic. No, you're not. And it's just going to scare you on those really tight, fun roads. And of course that 4-wheel drive system, which gives you confidence, and also the ability so that then when you're going around a tight corner, the back end doesn't come out and you go flying off the cliff. Not fun. But then a lot of people come and say, you know, doesn't the Evo handle better than the Subarus? The STIs and the Legacies? Well, kinda. You see, the Evo is sharper and it's stiffer, which is great on track, but on streets where there's bumps, lane lines and all that, the stiffer suspension can be a lot scary and unnerving. Unlike the STI is still plenty sharp, but it's not so sharp that it's making it difficult to drive really fast. The STI is like perfect in the way that it's built, so that you can have fun hammering it around, you don't really be nervous. You know, when you are in an Evo that is supposedly sharper, you know, the rides bounce you around too much. It's not as settled and planted. Also, if we talk about, you know, its gear change and its clutch, it just isn't as smooth and doesn't feel as nice.
Oh, damn it.
And even the turning circles on the Evos are horrendous. But now with driving there is a problem. Now Subarus are known to understeer. But this is where we go back and talk about that modding ability. You do need to mod out that understeer. And luckily enough, of course you can, and when you do, they handle so well. You know, you just need some camber, some wider wheels, stiffer roll bars, and that understeer's gone. If we look at the new STI, that thing's renowned for understeering, but then if we look at the S209 version, that's got wider wheels, stiffer roll bars, anti-roll bars, and that is perhaps the best handling sedan ever. Better than your M3, your Giulia QV, the S209 handles way better. And then when you put that all together, you have such a nice car. A car that you can put spirited driving in on your daily commute, that can give you a giant smile there with that nice sound, all the mods you've got. That really grippy, confident 4-wheel drive system, and the shape and power of it. Put that lady see a Subi driver, you know, Subi wave. Ooh, that's what makes them great. So then now we have to talk about why Subarus are getting worse. And let's start with the Legacy, because it's gotta be very easy. So the 2020 Legacy GT right? They don't make a sporty Legacy in 2020. So I mean, the Legacy is obviously getting worse because they don't make it. Someone might say, you know, the Lavore, but that's just a WRX wagon, not the full-size Legacy. But anyways, then if we go on back to the prior generation Legacy GT, it was getting heavy, it wasn't that sharp, it was fast, but it was just sort of losing its way. And we go to the generation before that, that was pretty good. It wasn't the lightest, most chuckable thing on the world, but it handled good. Then we go to the generations before that. They are light, they've got power, they're raw, they're fun. These two generations started at such a high place, and it just slowly got worse and worse. Not great, but now we have to talk about the STIs. So unlike the Legacy, they actually still make an STI, and the new STI is actually very good. If we compare it to its competition, you know, your Focus RS, your Type R, your Golf R, the new STI is the rawest. It offers the most feel, you know, you've got your hydraulic steering, less sound deadening, stiffer bushes and all that good stuff. It just communicates with you so much more. In fact, Savage Geese, who, if you don't know him, is the best freaking car YouTuber on YouTube. Seriously, watch his reviews, they're so good. He said that he would drive one of these over a Type R or an RS on the track. It's the slowest, but it involves you so much, and that's so satisfying and fun. However, this is one of the worst STIs yet. Now, if we go back a generation to the Stink Eye, I'm just gonna skip over this because this is the worst STI ever. I think Subaru knows that. However, it looked damn good, and it still was a pretty good car, just not good enough as most STIs. But then if we go to the generation before that, the Hawkeyes, your Blob Eyes and all that, even the classic eyes, they're so much lighter, they're more chuckable, nimble, and even rawer. And if you think about it, this is really one car we can really say that the older ones were better. Because usually, you know, with M3s, as they get older, comparing, you know, E46 to an F80, they've got more practical, they've got more reliable, they've got more power. With the STIs, the new STI has the same amount of power, but it's got more weight from your driver aids or your safety and emissions equipment. What's really new to the experience, it just isn't that light, chuckable being that the STI was, even though it's still a great car. Doug Demure really summed this up well in his review of a Blob Eye or even the 22B he did, and unfortunately, Subaru can't really fix this. That's the trend. Cars now have to get bigger, they have to get heavier, they've got all these safety requirements, emission requirements, technology they need to have in order to sell. So there's never got to be another STI like any of them from the Classic Eye to the Hawkeye. Now, of course, there is a new STI coming. It's rumored to have about 400 horsepower. My guess is it's going to be even heavier. It's not going to be as raw. At least after many, many years we're getting more power. And for the first time ever, a new engine, the FA24T, which even though the FA20 was pretty weak, this FA24 sounds like it's got to be a pretty good engine. Now, it has got direct injection, which is good for power and all that, but if we're talking about reliability, longevity, port injection is always better. You can clear those valves, get all the carbon buildup off them, and just lower pressure fuel is better for your reliability and all that, but that's a subject for a different time. If you did enjoy, please do drop a like and subscribe, comment videos you want to see. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.